Hello, welcome to the YouTube series of the beginning of the Tiripini circuit. I am Rudolf Hertle. My father was the first Lutheran missionary to enter the Wiru area, and I am here to tell you the story. This part is called Timbu, Wara, Emblems and Sacred Stones. In my last series, I described the Timbu cult. Today, I would like to point to two further vital points of the cult: the Timbu Wara emblems and the sacred stones. The Timbu Wara emblems were flat figures made of rattan in the form of humans with head, body, arms and legs, with an average size of about 3 or 4 feet high, sometimes even more. Interesting is that they mostly have 3 fingers, although there are examples with more fingers. The emblems were made in the Noi Yapu, the needle house, an open rectangular construction built on the site where the Timbu Yapu, the tall house, Timbu house, would later be constructed. In the course of this big Timbu festival, the Timbu Wara emblems were carried to the Timbu pole by men, some of whom were dressed as women. Note the dancer in the foreground wearing a skirt of a woman. Note the 2 boys also wearing women's skirts. Interesting, the first boy carrying what seems to be a rat tied up in a bundle of grass as an offering. It would seem that the reason for wearing women's attire could well be to give tribute to the role of the women in bearing children. This picture speaks a clear language of fertility. A man dressed in the skirt of a woman beside a man wearing normal men's wear, and in the center a Timbu Wara emblem with the distinct signs of procreation. The meaning could not be put more clearly. It means fertility. The emblems were then attached to the Timbu pole. This set the scene for the mass killing, particularly the mass killing of pigs. Much has been written about the meaning of the Timbu Wara emblems. Harland Kerr considers them to be fertility emblems. I have turned to a long-standing friend from Pondi village. He told me in effect that the Timbu Wara emblems were used as an instrument to be called upon in prayer for healing the sickness of boys and women. Considering that the main role of women was to bear children, preferably boys who would become strong warriors, it underlines the thesis of fertility, as such healing would lead to a greater number of warriors to the clan. One interesting point in all photos of Timbu Wara is that many from the Kawa area are also painted with a blue color. As a rule, blue color does not appear in nature. However, the scientists in New South Wales have analyzed the pigment and identified it as Viviante type of mineral. The different shades of blue are a product of early oxidation of Viviante. The paints applied on the Timbu Wara emblems seem to have the texture of clay as it is smeared on the objects. Little is known about the cultural meaning of color. However, as seen in this photo, the blue color boldly stands up in the center of the figure, which in some cases is made of wood, representing a shield, and contrasts strongly with the color of red. After the Timbu festivity, the Timbu Wara emblems were taken down and stored in a safe place, ready for the next cycle. In this case, it was the High Timbu Yapu Spirit House. I now turn to the sacred stones. This photo was taken in the village of Kendagal and shows the objects clearly. Generally, there were two types of stones, mortars and pestles. The mortars representing the female element and the pestles representing the male element. These specifically formed stone objects are commonly found in all parts of Papua New Guinea, close to the surface of the soil in gardens. The locals have no idea who made them. They attribute supernatural power to them. Scientific analysis dates the prehistoric objects between 8,000 to 3,000 years ago. Recent findings confirm that they were used to crush nuts. However, with the introduction of the sweet potato about 300 to 400 years ago, they were no longer needed. The local culture kept these stone objects in a tapa house, and after the ceremony they were either wrapped in bark cloth or buried, or rather planted to increase fertility. Chief Charles Nombo Lapa describes the use in his tribe. He says, "In a village there was also a circular house known as tapa, which was for the female spirit. The floor was divided down in the middle, representing two clan groups in the area. The house held two sacred spirit stones, the larger one representing the male spirit and the smaller one representing the female spirit. These stones were placed in a gourd and planted right in the center of the house to ensure the life and health of the district." This picture shows the pig offerings to the spirit of the stones in a different location, but could also be in Kendagal. The mound in the foreground shows the pig being cooked in the earth oven as part of the ceremony. In the background, quite a number of mortars are to be seen, painted and decorated for the occasion. They would later be buried to ensure fertility. This was the introduction to part 8, which will now follow, and tells you about the day the Timbu cult houses fell. It'll be coming up now.